to a very bewitching night on Twitchy Tuesdays. We are here on All Hallows Eve, Samhain, Halloween night, stepping into the sacred realm of this amazing space where the ancestors can speak. The veil between worlds is the thinnest. And you will want to stay with us for this incredibly special episode where we are going to gather and channel the wisdom of our ancestors and dive into the cosmic mysteries of November's astrology, as well as what Samhain is. So we'll not only be using the tarot today, but it is a special episode. We will also be using what is called Obi Agban, which is coconut shell divination. After we pour libation, we'll have a direct channel to bring forth messages from the other side, from the ancestral realm, and illuminate the astrological trends for the upcoming month. So let's go ahead and begin the Samhain magic. So excited to have everybody here. Okay. So first off, we are going to be starting with a libation prayer. We are going to be calling in the ancestors before we move into any of the astrology, before we get into the Twitchy tip of the week, before we clean out the broom closet, before we talk about Samhain. We are going to be doing a Yoruba libation prayer, calling in those ancestors. So for those of you that do not know or are new to my channel, I am an Onifa, Omoawo of Ifa, a student of Orunmila. I have completed my Isefa, which is my first hand of Ifa, and I am working towards initiation into Ifa and Shango. And in Ifa, we use this amazing divination tool, as well as, other areas might use, but in Ifa, we use this amazing divination tool called Obi Agban, or coconut shell divination. So I've got a few different examples here. And it's a form of minor divination practice that is really to help kind of get those like yes, no questions answered in communicating in whatever spiritual realm that you are communicating in. So that's what we're going to be using today, along with the tarot. And these OB that you see here, they make these awesome clacking noise. These are special for me. These were made, customized for me, for my energy. And if you really like these, you want to get to know more, Egbe member, as well as another Omoawo Ifa Tusin, who sells these amazing customizable OBs. If you're interested about finding out more about how you can get these, you can definitely visit him on Instagram. It's Irosun Ashe, IROSUNOSHE on Instagram. I'll be putting that in the description box as well. Or you can just leave me a comment and I will get you in touch with Ifa Tusin. All right. Pouring libation. So let's talk about that a little bit first, so that way we can ground in that energy. We are starting by pouring libation because that is what is going to invoke the ancestors to ask for their support and messages for the collective today, what we're doing here today. I ask for ancestral support before each Twitchy Tuesdays, normally before we go live. And during a divination that I was doing with my ancestors, I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago, they actually, for this particular episode, wanted me to do this here, wanted me to do it live, wanted me to do it with the collective. And when the ancestors speak, we listen. So that is what we are here for. To pour libation in the manner that I'm going to be pouring libation, we use plants. So you can see it. This is actually my ancestral plant. It sits on the ancestral altar. So I have it here with me today. And we use the plant because we're not outside right now. We use the plant to represent Aye, which is the earth element, so the energy can be refreshed. And since in Ifa, we believe that the ancestors are the owners of the land. So this kind of brings in that energy of the earth, of the land into our libation practice. So I am going to begin. Again, it will be in Yoruba. I'll be saying it in Yoruba, and then I have at the end a ancestral prayer that I'll be saying too. So we use water, dip, and pour for libation. All right, here we go. Omi tutu, ona tutu, ile tutu, tutulore, kosi ku, kosi arun, kosi eo, kosi fatobo, kosi akoba, kosi adina, kosi fatobo, ariku babawa, mojuba olodumare, ajuba bobo egun oluwa tini bile ise olodumare ibeye orun, mojuba bobo orishas, mojuba bobo ianifas, mojuba bobo balalaos, mojuba bobo ilosas, mojuba bobo babalosas, mojuba bobo mia de santos, mojuba bobo pia de santos, mojuba bobo egunte mi, mojuba sunrise, mojuba sunset, mojuba baba orumila osa otorpan, mojuba 400 orumile, mojuba akota, mojuba aseda, mojuba awan iamio saranga, mojuba to our mothers, mojuba to our fathers, mojuba to all of the honored ancestors that are joining us here today for the collective. Mojubai to all of the honored ancestors present. Our uplifted ancestors, guides, fierce protectors, and skilled healers, please stand with this Twitchy Tuesday community today. Children of your lineages, be with us in this moment and guide us along our road with a cool head and a clear mind. We are root of your root, soil of your soil, bone of your bone, and blood of your blood. Not deaf to our sincere cries, nor blind to our honest placations. Keep the gifts of perfect health, wealth, and prosperity close so that we may honor and grow your legacy. We have not forgotten our commitment to our lineage, and we vow never to forget. So it is, so may it be. Aho, amen, ashe, ashe, asheo. All right, so I'll show on stream what it looks like to throw OB. So we'll use the regular coconut. I'm trying to get these worn down and worn in. Omioni Egiobi, water is the blood of Obio. All right. Egungu mopueo, egungu mopueo, egungu mopueo. Etiburio, etiburio, etiburio. Egungun. Ancestors, are you present? Okay, not yet. Egungun, are you with us today during this reading? Ashe. There you go. Ancestors are present. Ancestors, is there anything, may we proceed with this Twitchy Tuesdays, cleaning out the broom closet, going into Samhain and doing the Twitchy tip of the week? Is that as such? Ashe. There we go. All right, so we'll be coming back to the OB. We'll be throwing in a little bit of the tarot, but we have gotten the blessing from the ancestors to start the show today. So the ancestors are here with us. Let us celebrate and give joy. All right, let's go to cleaning out the broom closet. So lots of things happening this week outside of just Samhain, which is fabulous. We have today, in fact, we talked about this last week, but today we have Venus in Virgo trining Uranus retrograde in Taurus, 21 degrees, 36 minutes. Again, we talked about that in the last Twitchy Tuesday because Venus and Uranus have been closing these last 2 months out. And how is that playing in our sphere? And how are we closing out this October? And when we get to Samhain, we'll really talk about what this day truly means. And this kind of next couple of days really are in our, like, how we can work with this energy. So that happens today on 11/2, Vesta stations retrograde in Cancer at 7 degrees, 30 minutes. On 11/3, the Sun in Scorpio will oppose Jupiter retrograde in Taurus at 10 degrees, 31 minutes. And then Venus in Virgo opposes Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 25 degrees, 11 minutes. And we will absolutely talk much, much, much deeper about this very interesting thing that's going to happen in November, where Neptune and Saturn become these like pillars, these two energy fields that you have to get through as we move through Sagittarius season and planets in the sign of Sagittarius. On 11/4, Saturn stations direct in Pisces, 0 degrees, 31 minutes. Let's give it up for Saturn. Mercury conjunct Sirius in Scorpio at 21 degrees, 6 minutes. Mercury in Scorpio opposes Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 21 degrees, 26 minutes. Ceres in Scorpio opposes Uranus retrograde in Taurus at 21 degrees, 25 minutes. That is just 11/4. Lots of energy around Saturn stationing direct, which we will talk about. On 11/5, Juno in Virgo sextiles Vesta retrograde in Cancer, newly retrograded, at 7 degrees, 29 minutes. And then on 11/6, to throw out this whole week, Venus in Virgo will trine Pluto in Capricorn, 28 degrees, 4 minutes. So what that means, as of 11/6, Pluto is done at 27 degrees of Capricorn. Hallelujah. Never to be seen again in our lifetime. Thank you, Pluto, for all the lessons at the 27 degree mark that we have. So with Pluto now being at 28 degrees, being direct, he now meets up with Venus and Virgo, which they've had a very close relationship over the last 2 years. So that's going to be a really fun energy. And then Mercury in Scorpio will trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces, 25 degrees, 8 minutes. So that's our cleaning out the broom closet. That's what we've got for the week. So getting into the astrology, the two things that I do want to level set on and talk through today is November. We're getting into November and Saturn stationing direct. After we do that, we'll have an awesome level set about Samhain, do a little celebration. We'll end with the Twitchy tip of the week. So November. This was my phrase and I love it. I'm so excited. So November got a little drunk on eclipse energy. November decided to party a little too hard. So November got eclipsy. That's my new theme this whole month. That's what I'm going to be saying. November got eclipsy, drunk on eclipse energy. And as we go through November is tipsy at the start. Like, you know, when you wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. after drinking all night and you're like, oh yeah, I should not be driving right now. I am totally still feeling the effects. That's like the first half of November. And then when we get into the second half and into December, particularly when we get into Sagittarius season, it is like hangover city. Like, all right, now I've got to purge all of this out. I've got to hydrate. I've got to drink water. I got to do the purge. I've got to sleep a little bit, taking a leave, whatever is needed. So this November, we've got a lot of eclipsy energy still present. And we're still going to be dealing with a lot from the last two eclipses. We talked, November is very opposition heavy. So we are feeling that tension, that opposition tension, especially as it comes to the two sides of the access points, two different energies that are present that are trying to be heard, trying to be seen, trying to get through in your foggy, eclipsy energy brain. We have the 11/11 portal in November, which is a huge gateway and an opening. We have Scorpio and Taurus themes still playing out at the start of the month. And then we transition to Sagittarius, Pisces energies to the end of it. And those are squares. So it is a very it's eclipsy. It's an eclipsy month. It's a little tipsy out there. It's a little drunk. It is a little what it is. So let's just take it bit by bit. That's why we do this stream weekly. That's why we set this up weekly, so we can take it bit by bit, step by step. We don't have to go super crazy into the future and be like, all right, but it is good to understand so you can overall prepare and be ready. overall, prepare and be ready. Look at what came out. We've got the 5 of Cups. Overall, prepare and be ready. I haven't even seen these. We have the Hermit, prepare and be ready. And we have the Queen of Wands. Absolutely. Be ready to take action. Let me get the cards back up here for you. It's being ready to take action with this Queen of Wands when it is needed. That's the whole thing, right? Like, we've got this tipsy sort of energy, this drunk on eclipse energy through this start. And then it kind of transitions where it's like, okay, now I've got to deal with all of this. But dealing with it, there's this point where you are going to have to take some sort of action in this Queen of Wands. You are going to have to make some decisions. Things, if they haven't already, are coming to a resolution. You're going to have to shift. You're going to have to pivot on some things. But it's within these. I love that the Hermit and the 5 of Cups, these are more of those like solemn cards, right? It's this energy, this moment of thoughtful integration. It's the inside. It's as these oppositions are going on, especially with this 5 of Cups, these oppositions between what is still present and what is being left, what is spilt out, what is no longer available to you. As you begin to kind of filter through that energy, look, I get real quiet when I'm hungover, right? Like, I just need to be here. I need to be in my own space. I need to be in my own brain. I just need to be with me real quick. And that's what I'm seeing with this Hermit here. It's do what you got to do with your feels, right? Do what you got to do with your feels about what's left, about what got spilt out right here. Get through the feels. But a lot of that afterwards is this inner contemplation. What are you thinking through? Because there is going to be action needed. This Queen of Wands, there is going to be action needed. And it's not going to wait for you to be ready. Are you like, you've got to take action. It's now or never sort of energy. So, where were we at? Saturn stationing direct. Nope, that was for the other messages. So let's get some new ones for Saturn stationing direct. Okay. So I felt into this energy. I love working with Saturn. Love having Saturn energy. Love where my Saturn is placed. I've got a conjunction with Pluto. Love Saturn and all the things that it does. Had to get there. Had to get to this point. But now that we're here, I really tried to hone in on the energy of Saturn and like, all right, from a Saturnian perspective, what is this stationing direct at 0 degrees? Like, what is that? Like, out of all of the degrees that Saturn could station direct in, he chose to station direct at 0 degrees, 31 minutes. Okay. Fair. All right, Saturn. So purpose, right? There's purpose. Saturn doesn't do things in halves. The universe does not do coincidences. So for me, I really thought about this and I kind of felt into this as the first time is the second time. So it was like this full redo effect that I kept feeling like Saturn got in and was like, all right, look, it's like that moment where you've got to go get wet. You got to dive into the pool and you do it. And you're like, hate it in that moment. And you're like, all right, but then you get used to it. You get used to the water temperature. You actually begin to feel warm. And now you got to get out of the pool. And it's like, dude, I was just getting comfortable. Now Saturn's going all the way back and it's like, yeah, now you got to go dive in again. The fuck, then why did I get out? Because there's purpose. There's purpose here. There's purpose for I went all this way just to come back and do it all this way again. Saturn knows what he's doing. So whatever this full redo, 7 of Swords, whatever this full redo is, Saturn's got it. There's something here. There's something to be learned here. It was almost, I also laughed because I heard this too. It was almost like, yeah, I went for a trip. Saturn saying this. I went for a trip out into the galaxy and I shinned out. I got really, really far out of the real world, and I got to bring it back. I need a little bit more reality in my life. I got too far in the Piscean energy. I really need to come back and ground into this. Now I know what to expect. I can do it all over again. And again, just like that analogy of diving into really cold water, you know what to expect now this next time. That first one was like, okay, it's like cold plunging. Anybody else cold plunge? I don't, but I know that this is a movement. I know a lot of people out there that cold plunge and definitely feel that it is total value add in their life and in their habits and everything. The first couple of times probably sucked. Who knows? Maybe it still sucks for you, but you know what to expect now. And that's what I'm feeling with Saturn coming all the way back to this 0 degree point. So we had the 7 of Swords pop out, the Page of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles, and they want those reversed. So in the middle is the 5 of Pentacles. On the right is the Page of Pentacles. And okay, I'm hearing this as past, present, future. So past is the 7 of Swords. And with this 7 of Swords, Saturn stationing direct, again, that's what I'm feeling like this was supposed to be. This is a redo. I now know what swords I need to carry ahead for me. I now know, like, Saturn's journey in Pisces is going to be a series of leaving these swords behind, leaving these things that are no longer needed for our highest and best good, leaving these things that have zero or anything to do with where we're trying to get in the long term, which is all Saturn, right? That's all Saturn. And I love that it's the swords that came out like this, because it's all of this shit up in here. It's all the Piscean things. It's all what's in this brain. It's our thoughts. It's the things that we no longer need in our being, in our process, our idealism, our spiritual principles, our boundaries, our enlightenment, all of these things in these themes that Pisces rules, where as Saturn goes on his journey, we're going to be leaving a lot of those things behind, the things that are no longer serving us in our forward trajectory towards the long term of everything. So Saturn's already left some of that. Now that it's stationing direct, now that we've got this redo, there's 2 swords here. So what were the 2 things that during this Saturn retrograde, during this first initial entrance of Saturn into Pisces, have you realized that needed to be left back there? I heard an astrologer, and forgive me, I don't remember which one. Otherwise, I would totally give credit where credit's due. But they had it might have been Austin Coppock, was talking about Saturn and Pisces, like clothes become looser. So maybe that's something that you left behind, right? Maybe that is one thing that you were like, oh yeah, no, these yoga pants, they gots to go. I gotta have a waistband. I gotta have baggy. Maybe that's something that you're leaving behind while Saturn goes through Pisces. So going back now to past, present, we've got this 5 of Pentacles. Oh, it's going to get cold. I mean, not only is it winter, right? We're at Samhain. I know part of the country, especially up north, was snowing all day today. They're expected to get a bunch of snow. Winter is here. And today of all days, it's very, very relevant, very clear. Things are going to be a little, again, it's going back to that November. It's going to be a little. It's going to be a little tight. It's going to be a little dreary. It's going to be a little, I got to figure this out. It's going to be a little like less sustaining is a word I'm getting. then you would probably like. So it's not that it's going to be like this paupery. Five of Pentacles typically has that energy of like the pauper, the, being poor, being the miser, being very swindly with money, like hoarding money and stuff like that. It's not that energy. It's more so that, first of all, Saturn is very cold in general, right? Like Saturn's got a very cold edge to it, especially when it loves its home sign of Aquarius for that reason. It's very cold, calculated, and icy. And so now it's coming into Pisces in water, and it's also kind of doing that, right? It's doing this like, all right, well, I can freeze the water around me. I can have this shell around me. And maybe that is present for you. Maybe you are shelling, creating this shell around you that you're not letting Saturn do its work. You're not letting, there's still five pentacles here. Look, there's still things that you can do. It ain't like you're completely broken and it's not, there's still things out there that can happen. There's still creative ways that you can tap into this. There's still things that are meant for you right now. And Saturn is all that Saturn is asking is like, look at the things that I'm trying to teach you, make the adjustments, do the work, and here we go, right? And some of that from a personal perspective could be like, what did you revisit during my retrograde? What did you think about? How did you get tested? How did you get a little testy? How were you challenged? How did you, wherever Saturn and Pisces is in your natal chart, that house, whatever themes those were. So let's just call it the third house. That's communication. How were those themes tested? Did you withhold? Did you not do too much? Did you learn something about that? How did you say your truth? How did you flow within your truth? How did you manage your boundaries? How did you do all of these things as you were drug into this Piscean world of unclarity, this Piscean world of dreaminess, this Piscean world of nimness? Like, it's very unorganized. It's very and organized all at the same time. It's like, how did you go through Alice in Wonderland, right? How did you navigate being really, really big in a really, really tiny house? Like, Alice in Wonderland is one of the most phenomenal movies to like help explain, because it's a lot of feelings. So there's not a lot of verbal explanation, but to help get you to get the understanding of the Piscean realm, right? It's up is down, left is right. All the things can be all the things all at once. Even like that statement is a little Piscean. I tweeted it out. My husband said something yesterday and I was like, that is the most Piscean thing I have ever heard. So it's like this nimness, and Saturn wants things clear, calculated, moving in the right direction. And so Saturn also is trying to get into this, but in the future, we have the Page of Pentacles. So you turn this kind of like cold, icy, dreary moment into something incredibly prosperous and brand new, and something that you feel good about. You feel like you can take forward into the future. So like Saturn and Pisces, when we talk about Saturn and Pisces, and again, you'll want to look at your natal chart to see what house that aligns for themes, but Saturn and Pisces is all about idealism and challenging those ideals, challenging them to make sure that they're going to take you for the long term, right? What do you need to leave behind? It's about the spiritual practices. Maybe what you were doing is no longer serving you anymore with this Five of Pentacles here. And now you've got to let that go. And that could bring up some grief. That could bring up grief. Like if you've been like walking every day for years in a row, and now all of a sudden you can't do that anymore, that's going to be a transitionary period. 5 of Pentacles for you. And maybe that's where you got your spiritual practice from. And like, that was how you communed. Maybe you had to move and now you're not near your normal, you're not near your same, like an egg bay or a church or people that you rely on for those spiritual fulfillment that you're looking for. It's also about our spiritual principles. What did you leave behind? Is it challenging right now for you? Boundaries when it comes to these things, right? So even if, let's say you did move and you're in a new location, that doesn't mean that you need to like complete, again, I live in Texas. I do this in Texas. That I'm not going to change all the things because of the location that I live in, right? Now I have to do things a little differently. I still go leave offerings. I still go outside and like look at the moon and do all the things. We went and had our eclipse glasses. Like all of those things are still very relevant. Okay. It doesn't mean that it's all the dreariness. You know, how also are you going to live in a Piscean world? We're here. We've got Neptune here. We've got Saturn here. They're going to be here for a hot moment. So how are you living in this Piscean world? How are you going to live in your mind? How are you going to live in your soul? How are you going to live in your spirit, etc.? All of those things is what you are going to be figuring out. And it's a wonderful journey. It's the like Page of Pentacles. It is an awesome journey to get there. Let's see. What else did I have on this? What other notes did I have? Oh, that's the other thing. So I do love that there's like with this ice and everything. So there is a very deep connection to water. Not only is Saturn very cold, very icy, ice, root is water, but Piscean, all about the water. So there is this connection to water where like you can begin, like think through that, right? How does water sustain? How does water drown? How does water dry? How does water freeze? Like water is a very amazing element. If you don't have a lot of water in your natal chart, if you are not a water person, like you really have to appreciate water. Water can give life and water takes it away. Water is the single thing that connects life as we know it. Element all across the board, right? So we are born in water. Right? In the womb, we are in water. Water can drown us. Water can, so like really like think about the element of water as you go forward and what that means to you. How do you approach water? How do you use water? How do you have your boundaries with water? Like me, I have a very, very healthy respect for water. I am not naturally, I don't have a lot of water in my natal chart. I'm not attuned to water in that aspect. I have a lot of fire and a lot of air, but water is what heals. And I know that about myself. It's why we moved to Hawaii. But also I have an incredibly deep respect for water. I love being in water. I love swimming in the ocean. If I can't see the land, I'm not getting in the ocean. I don't need to be there. Why do I need to be? I don't need to be. That's not my realm. That's water's realm. That's Yemoja's realm. That's Olokun's realm. I don't need to be out there. I respect it. I don't need, I don't need to go into the deep ocean. There are other people that is their incredible, that's their calling. And that's incredible for them. And so kind of, I got this message to just like explore your relationship with water and what that means for you. Okay. Let's see if we have any other messages for the astrology before we head over to talking about Samhain. Anything else that you want to say? I don't think so. All right. Okay. So let me hide this. I'm going to pull some Oracle for Samhain, but we're going to get into Samhain first. So I'm going to go back to the large screen. All right. So Samhain. Yes, I know it looks like Samhain. It is not. It is pronounced Samhain. So the root of Samhain is truly about honoring all of the departed things that have passed. And that, think about this time, right? Harvest is done. There's like not a lot of other stuff that's coming up out of the ground right now in the Northern Hemisphere. So there is a death that is occurring on the land that, it's going to be put to slumber. It's going to go into winter. So it is about honoring all of the departed things, your crops, your ancestors. And, that is one of the particular things about this time is truly being able, as the veils are incredibly thin, to connect with our ancestor spirits for guidance and insights. It's an incredibly significant and ancient festival that marks that beginning of the darker half of the year. So like the wheel turns, okay, we've got this darker half of the year now. It is the Celtic and the Witch's New Year, and that final turn of the wheel before the sun gets reborn again at Yule, which is in December. It's the start of Capricorn season. So this time being the Witch's New Year, being the Celtic New Year, it's a wonderful time to be able to use the guidance and use the support of your ancestors to gain the insights that you need to set your next year up, to set what is happening in the next round of the wheel, the next couple of turns of the wheel. So it's time when, right now at Samhain, is when the veil between the physical world and the spiritual realm is the thinnest. It allows for that communication, for that channel, for the spirits to actually be able to be present and roam around. And that is departed souls, different spirits, lots of different things can be present during this time frame. This event has deep roots in Celtic and pagan traditions, and some of its other alterations that have occurred throughout the year is things like Halloween, Third Harvest, All Hallows Eve, All Saints and All Souls, Hallow Mass, and Dia de los Muertos. So Samhain is really a lovely time for reflection. That's how we celebrate. Right? We can reflect on our past year. We can reflect on what we've learned, celebrate, be able to grow into the following year. It's a time of remembrance, remembering the things that we are grateful for, remembering our ancestors, and overall paying tribute to the sun, as it begins its own descent, paying tribute to the land that feeds and nourishes us, paying tribute to our ancestors that guide, protect, and support us. And one way to do that one way to celebrate this time is to set up altars. So we were actually in Cancun a couple years ago during Dia de los Muertos. We went specifically so that way we could be there during that time. And like shrines were just erected, like middle of the street, shrine is going up. People brought their pictures. The altars were happening. Pictures, flowers, gourds. You can see we've got the pumpkins here. And like all of that, all of these offerings and all of these gifts for the ancestors and the ancestral spirits. So it's a wonderful way to celebrate and to bring a little bit of that magic in is to set up an altar. Another great way to celebrate is by engaging in divination practices like the OB, like tarot cards. Scrying is another really cool thing, speaking about water and having Saturn present and Pisces energy present right now. scrying into water, scrying into fire, scrying into smoke, scrying, like there's egg scrying, like there's so many different forms that you can begin to like play and practice with. And all of that is really geared to help you, again, connect and channel to get these messages for the year ahead. And overall, it's a celebration, right? I love this. There's a lot of people out that just love this time of year. It's the end of the agricultural year. That's really what, that's a huge celebration in itself. We have harvested. Hopefully all of that came up and you manifested, it came out really, really well for you. And so this is a time to like celebrate by offering food and drinks, not only to the spirits, but to your fellow. This is why trick-or-treating, right? Offering it to your community members and those in your family, and having this like celebratory meal, or doing things like topsy-turvy, doing it a little backwards, where you start out with your awesome desserts first and then head to like main courses after that. So there's a lot of fun, or having silent meals to honor the dead, etc. So there's a lot of fun things that you can do to celebrate Samhain that's outside of like the Western traditional Halloween trick-or-treating, etc. From just aligning and just kind of getting into the elements, Samhain is the west and the north. Those are the cardinal directions it goes with, the elements of water and earth. Offerings can be things like pomegranates, cider, pumpkin, pork, sweet potatoes, turnips, like anything rooty and vegetable-y, things that come from the ground. Gourds of all kinds are great. Scents and things, other things you can offer. Cinnamon's great right now. Acorns, I don't know if y'all saw on the table, but I have the cloves out. Cloves, jasmine, mugwort. And mugwort is not only a great thing right now during Samhain, but mugwort actually is an herb that helps connect to the ancestral realm all times. So I actually light mugwort every single day on my ancestral altar to help call them in and bring their energy into us in the home. So mugwort's a great herb to use. Rosemary, sandalwood, patchouli, other really great incenses and scents that you can have around the house. For crystals, you might have seen them on here, but black tourmaline, moonstone, hematite, orange calcite, bloodstone, things like that are all very, very good stones to work with, very good crystals to work with right now. And light and fire, even though water and earth are the elements, light and fire is really important during Samhain. This is a lot of time where like bonfires are lit, outdoor fires are lit. In some tradition, the light and fire beckons your ancestors home. So it helps them as they're navigating this veil and kind of getting their bearings as the veil thins and as they're coming back onto this earthly realm. Light and fire can help them see the way home. Let them come in, let them welcome, join you, see their altar, spend time with you, give you the messages that they need to give you. But on the other hand, also in some traditions, light and fire can also help ward off the spirits that you don't want around. So look, it's true, not all spirits is good spirits, right? There are devious spirits that are out there. And so light and fire, I've got candles lit kind of all over here. I know the sun's still out, so you don't see that candlelight, but that helps ward off spirits that you don't want around as well. From an astrology standpoint, Samhain occurs actually at 15 degrees of Scorpio. So Samhain aligns because it is the midpoint between the autumn equinox, which is Mabon or the start of Libra season, and the winter solstice, which is Yule or Capricorn season. So from a actual mathematic degree standpoint, that is at 15 degrees of Scorpio. which 15 degrees of Scorpio this year will happen on anywhere, I don't know the exact time, but it will happen between November 7th and November 8th. That's where the sun will transition over that 15-degree mark. So really, in essence, it's not only this day, this October 31st day that we can utilize to celebrate, but All Saints and All Souls was actually celebrated the 31st and the 1st. Some of these other traditions celebrate throughout that first couple of days of November. And if we're looking from the astrological side, we have this kind of whole energy signature until November 7th and 8th. So it's, even if you weren't prepared today, do it on the weekend, do it in the next couple of days to really own it and dive into this energy. Intention is where it is at. So this is also Samhain astrologically, getting into this. It's the threshold of winter. So what you will see is the Pleiades star cluster, which is commonly referred to, you might have heard it as the Seven Sisters. That actually, that cluster of stars begins to come up in the sky as the sun sets. Very bright, very easily seen by the naked eye. And you can observe that in your location in the Northern Hemisphere. The Seven Sisters are associated with the sign of Taurus because that's the constellation where they are found. So that's something that begins, like, that's a very known thing. As we turn into this next wheel of the year, you get to see this Pleiades star cluster, the Seven Sisters. From a Greek mythology standpoint, Pleiades were the 7 daughters of Titan Atlas and the sea nymph Pelene. And their tale is really cool. I won't get into the Greek mythology right now, but it does involve Orion and Sisyphus. So if you love Greek mythology, I highly encourage you to do some Googling and searching about the Seven Sisters. So Samhain, just like any Sabbath, is a reminder that death is a part of life. It's a celebration of that. It's good to cherish our past. It's good to honor it. It's good to understand it, but it is just as important. That's why at New Year, it's just as important to embrace the mysteries of the future as well and continue to grow, because that's what this whole journey is all about. This human experience is about growth. It's about growing. All right, let me get this back on the stream, and we are going to, I'm going to do it this way. We are going to pull some, this is the Season of the Witch Samhain Oracle. Super excited that I got this for October. We've been using it all October. Now I've got to figure out what we're going to use for November. But we are going to pull 3 Oracle cards to align with the energy of this blessed Samhain. And again, we've got astrologically till November 7th-ish, 8th-ish. So we're going to do this whole week. What is the guidance as we begin to venture into our new year, venture into this next season, venture into the darker months? What is the guidance that you have for us? Ancestors, what would you like to say? Thank you. Graveyard. Whoa, thank you. Voices and elders. Thank you. All right. So, graveyard. There is a song that bellows in the peace of knowing no end. No acknowledging the crossroads of eternity. It's number 18. Voices number 42. With a tug at the gut, feel them romance your very breath. Listen to the gentle flickering within your eyes, for this is where they guide. And then elders, number 15. Birthed from seed within the belly of the moon, they are the wise, felt touches over our hearts and felt deep within the marrow of our spirit. So let's get some additional messages here with each of these. I definitely feel that these are messages from the ancestors guiding this, guiding these right now. Let me see. All right, graveyard. Keywords: peace, acknowledgement. Many see a graveyard as a symbol of mortality. It collects the tears of mourners whose loved ones have been laid to rest. Its stillness is an ominous song that creeps up the spine, leaving us to ponder who death will come for next. But a graveyard is a place of serenity where souls can find peace and stillness beyond the harsh realities of living. There is no longer the need to struggle against what is. It is a place of surrender. There are those who fear the graveyard, for it has long been the home of wandering spirits who cannot find peace. Those who have not transitioned to eternity, forced to live a half-life, neither dead nor alive. Souls who are faced with taking responsibility for a life not lived to the full, focused on things that didn't matter and holding on to resentment. The graveyard card will help you find peace with where you are. There are times when we will be faced with difficult situations that are beyond your control. There are times that we must surrender to our current place. There is no use in fighting the battle you've already lost. Message: there is no use in fighting a battle you've already lost. Take control over one thing you can change: yourself. The situation you're inquiring about is no longer in your hands. The powers that be have taken over. Often we are faced with a challenging ending that is necessary to facilitate a bright new beginning. Powerful, powerful message. And that reminds me of what we just got through with the last eclipse in Taurus. Maybe some things ended. It reminds me of Saturn stationing direct, going through Pisces all over again. Life, there is a lot happening right now. There is a lot of energy in the world. There's a lot of these voices, this mourning, this crying, and there's not the same connection to our elders or to our ancestors as there were in times past, to be able to give us that leading voice, to be able to give us that wisdom and that understanding. There's greatness that can be found. There's respect within the graveyard, right? And also that is why, there are keepers of the lost souls. There are, again, going back to why we have light and fire, because maybe some of those souls shouldn't be involved in your home life and all of those things, keeping them there. But also this is a very important reminder about why we honor our ancestors and why ancestral reverence is important in life. It's important as a spiritual practice. It's important as a ritual, because they can then rest. They can give you the messages that you need. They have wisdom beyond all. You want to talk about elders, ultimate elders. They see further and farther and more on a broader scale than we ever do. So they can kind of help and facilitate and give over, right? This grief, there's a lot of grief I'm feeling. Whatever was ending, again, the one thing that you can change is yourself. A lot of that, you can sit with your ancestors and just talk about it. Talk about your feelings, talk about what you're feeling or what you're going through, talk about the struggles, talk about the things that you want to change, and ask for help. Ask for, hey, will you support me in this? Will you give me the strength? Will you find a way for the courage to sink in? Voices. I'm already hearing with the voices that, yeah, we could do all of that, ancestors speaking, but are you willing to listen? Are you willing to listen? Hold on. All right. Encouragement, inner knowing. Voices surround us, but we have to listen carefully. The powers speak to us in so many different ways, encouraging us as we travel along our path. There is a voice that can be found in the plants, animals, colors, shapes, winds, and rains. There are clues offering us guidance and encouragement as we make our way back to the true spirit self. Spirit speaks to us in symbols, signs, faint sounds, and subtle cues. Our wise ancestors knew this. Again, elders, right? They knew everything has something to say for those who know how to listen, not just with their ears, but with their entire body, mind, and soul. Hello, Saturn and Pisces. This card has come to you as a reminder to listen to the guidance offered by spirit through your environment. One of the best ways to connect is to go out in nature, ask a question to the wind, and listen for an answer. Perhaps a plant suddenly moves nearby or something floats on the wind just in front of your face. These are all signs from spirit to you. Ask your question and wait for the powers that be to answer. Be open-minded about the ways an answer can appear. That is huge. Look for synchronicities or constant signs that come together to tell a story. Something is a sign if you feel a connection to it, no matter how silly it seems. Trust in your ability to receive the language of spirit. The powers that be will see this and will offer more to you. Reciprocal relationship. The more you offer, the more you listen, the more messages come. I just actually tweeted about this as well. 9/11. I see that number all the time. All the time. And I know that that's a consistent reminder for me. I know that it's a way that it's like, hey, don't forget. Hey, don't forget. And so I check in every time I see that number. I'm like, yep. All right. I got it. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. And it is, again, if that's not something that you're used to practicing, you can begin. It's easy. Again, it's just going out, go sit down on the grass, go like take a moment and be with yourself, listen to the wind, enjoy the sun on your face. You can do, again, things like this, right? Just pulling a tarot card a day. But it's in that listening, being willing to listen, that then that reciprocal relationship begins to come through. What if I got the message, right? Like I got the message in divination that I needed to do libation and do this OB reading and show OB on this episode. That was the message that I got. What if I didn't listen to that message? What if I didn't do it? What do you do when you ask somebody to do something and they don't do it? Just because it's in spirit doesn't mean that it doesn't feel any different than you do when that happens to you. So again, think through all of that. 15, we've got elders, compassion and wisdom. Elders are wise. They are the ones who've lived and experienced more ups and downs, twists and turns than the rest of us, the crones and the wise men. Elders were the storytellers and keepers of knowledge. They were the ones we sought when in turmoil and who would hold us as we wept for the unfairness life can bring. They had compassion for us, but also gave sage advice drawn from their decades of experience. Today, many elders are seen as a burden instead of cherished loved ones who deserve the right to be supported and cared for in their old age. Many elders have not been given the space to share the wise words of their traditions because our modern world moves too fast for their slow wisdom. Yet, there are those among us, particularly witches, who still see the wisdom in their old ways. If you hold the elders card, it is to remind you to have compassion for others and to never disregard someone's wisdom or experience. That includes children. I just got my left side of my body right here, got goosebumps. That is the left side. That is the maternal side. That is the receiving side. Be able to receive that guidance. Where are we? Oh, a Zen saying tells us you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day unless you're too busy. Then you should sit for an hour. This knowledge can be applied to wisdom as well. Often the thing you need most when life is moving so fast is to slow down and see where you've been missing, or in this case, who you've been missing. This card is a call to meet with your elders to see if they have wisdom to share about your ancestors that can help you on your path. I love that, because if you're like looking or getting into, ancestral reverence, you need to go to your elders, your family lineage, and find out, all right, what are some traditions, some ancestral rites that I have? Who has pictures, right? Who has pictures of my ancestry, finding out my genealogy, my family tree, etc. Elders also in the community, right? As you're going down, again, this tying it back to Saturn and Pisces, stationing direct, elders are the ones that hold those keys to the knowledge of how rites, practices, things, right? I have a Baba and Iya, a godmother and a godfather, and they've been in the tradition for 20 plus years. And that is wisdom and knowledge that, they are imparting on, but I have to be willing to sit there and do the work and listen to them. I have to be willing to acknowledge that. I have to be willing to put aside my ego and my thought processes and all of that to gain and to, contemplate and to grow and to develop in these practices. So, yeah, what else? Let me think. Is there anything else? I'm not hearing any other messages. Let's ask. Edgy waters, blood of Hey, Google, is the reading over? We may go. This is such. Ooh, no. Okay. Hold, please, while we consult. All right, let's put these up here. Ancestors, do you have messages? Yes. All right. Is it about the graveyard? Is it about the graveyard card? Okay. Is it about the voices card? Yes. All right, voices. So they've got messages about this voices card. So again, it's listening. Is it about cleaning the aura in order to receive messages? Yes. Okay. So what it's saying is, what the ancestors are saying is, for some of us, it might be a really great idea to do some sort of cleaning, auric cleaning. So whether that's cleaning your head, so that way your connection can remain strong, whether to your Ori, to your ancestors, but cleaning, doing a rogation, that's where you kind of like clean and wash the head, spiritual black baths, to really like drudge all of the yuck and muck and the other people's energy off of you. Reiki's phenomenal. If I do know, my best friend is a Reiki healer, master 3, doing all the things, and she does it virtually. So if you need a Reiki master in your life to help you clear that energy, you let me know. I will get you in contact. You can throw it in the comments and I can get you her email address. So like all of these ways, doing yoga, cleansing, purifying, detoxing, any of those and all of those ways are a way to help clear your channel. So that way you can hear these voices. You can be that open channel and connection point. Hold on, let me ask. Ancestor, is that also to clean the cards and crystals? Also cleansing needed for cards and crystals. No? Okay, maybe not. Is there cleansing needed for any divination tool? Nope. Okay. So not, easiest way to say this, it ain't the cards. right? If your cards aren't flowing, if the crystals feel like a little lackluster, it ain't them. It ain't them. It's a you thing. You got to get that energy clear. All right, ancestors, message delivered. Is there any other messages that you would like to, let me re-ask the question in the right way. All right, ancestors, message delivered. Is the reading now closed? Nope. Ancestors. Is there another message you have for voices? No? Okay. Is there a message that you have for elders? Yes. All right. So there's a message for elders. Let me get that. Ancestors. Path forward. Connecting back. Whoa. Oh, I got it. Yes, it is. Okay. So another message coming through for elders. For those of you who have lineages especially in indigenous tribes, either Native American, indigenous to the country or continent that you're in, if you have connections to those elders. So, whether that's through your family, maybe you don't know any directly, but you can reach out to those elders. That is a wonderful place to start on your journey. It may not be where you end up, but the point is to start somewhere. So if you are looking for that elder wisdom, if you are looking for ways to connect deeper to who you are, your roots, your ancestral lineage, all of those XXX, all of those things, and you're looking for somebody to talk to about that, a really, really wonderful way is if you have anybody in your community that you know, again, if you have that as part of your bloodline, reach out to them. Again, it might not be where you end up, but the point is to take the first step in the journey. The ancestors will guide the path and the way for you from there. Okay, is there any other else on the elders card? Yes. Okay, another message on the elders card. Okay, about respect. Respect elders. Okay, so let me think. So with respect and the elders, let's see. This is where it's yes and no questions. So you got to come up with the right question. Is it just that they should be respecting their elders, respecting the wisdom that they have? I'll ask again because that one just kind of wanted. Oh, I hear you. Thank you, ancestors. Okay, so these were both up when they landed. So what it is, if you noticed, again, this is how you use synchronicities. This is how you use this little voice. If you notice, this was kind of like holding up and being held up by this graveyard card. So the question I asked was about attaching these two because it's about respect. And what the ancestors would like to say through what they're saying here is it's respecting not only the elders, but respecting the graveyard. That's a wonderful practice is as you're passing a graveyard, bowing your head. So if you're driving past, walking past, just simply and just giving that reverence, giving that respect of what's needed, revering what has been passed. For some, it might be actually visiting the graveyard. If you have family members that you have access to that are at the graveyard, you can leave offerings there. It might be time to just kind of go and say hi to them. But it's respecting those that have passed and respecting their burial grounds, the places that they are resting in. All right. Messages that you have. Message has been delivered. Are we okay to close the reading now? This is such. Okay. Now that those messages have been delivered. This is such. Okay. Hold, please. No. Okay. Hold on. More messages. Yes. My ancestors like to talk, y'all. I like to talk. They like to talk. So more messages. Okay. Okay, so the message that they would like to bring forward is to make sure that you are celebrating today. Make sure you're celebrating during this week. Yes, yes, life is happening. Yes, life is tough. Yes, there is a lot of shit going on right now. Celebrate. Find spaces that you can celebrate you. Find spaces that you can celebrate your journey. Find spaces. Celebration looks like a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be like party, although I'm telling you, like my ancestors love to have parties. They love to have the music. They love to have the food. So that might be it. And that could be where they're talking. They're like, hey, we want to party. You haven't like partied with us in a while. But I really feel like laughter. I keep hearing laughter. I keep hearing joy. I keep hearing this like I'm hearing the word reckless abandon, like this, like full body celebration of life and the gratitude that you are alive and you're still here. Again, celebration can be just simple gratitude as well, but absolutely celebrate this time. Celebrate the ending of harvest season. Celebrate the ending of all that you've accomplished this year. Walk into the new year dedicated to changing the things that you didn't like about this past year and dedicated to yourself and your growth and all of the things that you want to accomplish then going forward. All right. Now that that message has been delivered, may we proceed with closing out Twitchy Tuesdays? Ashe. All right. Messages delivered. We can proceed with closing out Twitchy Tuesdays. All right. Here we roll with our final thing. We've got the Twitchy tip of the week. Before we get into that, I'd just like to extend an invitation to all. If you are absolutely enjoying this cosmic journey with me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, join our thriving community, and stay updated with our latest episodes. Plus, explore our other videos, offerings, and a bunch of info on social media. I'm very active on X, Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok. So you can deepen your mystical journey and path there and through the other videos on this channel. I want to thank you for being part of Habitual Sages, joining me today where we have a mission to help 1 million people heal, thrive, and grow. All right, Twitchy tip of the week. I've got 4 of them, and 2 are going to be a future all signs tarot reading. So here we go. First one. Besides celebrate, obviously the ancestors want us to celebrate. First one, fall into faith. Fall into faith. That's going to mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. That was the message. It didn't need to go like far above and beyond that. Fall into faith. The second Twitchy tip of the week, reminder, high effort equals high reward. The effort that you put in today will equate to your reward that you're going to get in the future. That's Saturn. So high effort equals high reward. Jupiter is not direct yet. That won't happen until the 30th. Keep going. Keep pushing. And these next 2, I'm actually going to be doing a November all sign tarot reading with these 2 messages in mind. You asked for the upgrade. Now prove it to the universe that you mean what you say. That's the masculine side of it. You asked for the upgrade. You asked the ancestors for the upgrade. You did your thing. You asked, you put it out there. You want to manifest that. Prove it to the universe that you mean what you say, that you will take action on those things. On the flip side, on the feminine side, close your eyes and walk your path. Close your eyes and walk your path. Get your brain out of the way. Into it. See both sides of everything. See the real life, and then close your eyes and see what it could be. Right? Don't, oh my God, it's got to be this way, right? We got that message in the Voices Graveyard Elders. Respect the message. Allow things to come to you the way they need to come to you. You aren't the one that gets to dictate, how the blessing and when the blessing arrives. There's a gazillion and 22 things that have to happen to get that blessing to you. So close your eyes and walk your path. Get your brain out of the way. So between the masculine side and the feminine side, we'll be exploring both of those in a future live all signs tarot reading. Again, you want to hit subscribe. You want to stay with me here so that way you know when I go live and you can get all of those messages. All right. We done. We done for Samhain. Thank you for joining me on this really amazing episode, me and my ancestors, for this really amazing episode of Twitchy Tuesdays. Happy and blessed Samhain to all. Enjoy. We'll talk to you later. Bye.